Welcome back to Dave's Corner Garage, and I'm sure that we've all been in the situation where we've had the occasional ding with another car, and we wonder, what can we really do next? So, joining us on the phone right now is Brian Goldfinger. He's a personal injury lawyer. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. Listen, considering it's a weekend and the snow seems to be going away, I have no complaints whatsoever. People have been writing in knowing that you were going to be on the air. So here's a couple of questions for you. What are some of the important steps to take after you have a car accident?
I just first want to thank you for having me on the show and for exploring these topics because we don't think about accidents until they happen. And it's not like these things are taught to you in high school or college or university. You have to learn them through life experience. And some people go through accidents and some people don't. And unfortunately, if you've been involved in a serious accident, it's really important to know what to do. So at baseline, people say, well, you got to get the other driver's insurance information. And that's certainly very true. But there's so many other steps you need to take after a serious car accident. If you don't take those steps, you may be in for trouble. Just getting somebody's car insurance sometimes isn't enough because, to be real with you and your listeners, there's a lot of people out there who either A, aren't driving with insurance, or B, have improper pink slips. And what do I mean by improper? Either they're forged or frauded, or they've expired and they're not the right ones. So these sort of things happen. So reporting the accident to your local collision center or reporting the accident to the police is certainly important, even if it's a minor fender bender. That way, the accident is documented, not just by you and somebody taking your word for it, but the police and the authorities get involved. And again, it doesn't have to be the police. It could be your local collision reporting center if it's a minor accident. The next thing you need to do, of course, is if you can, everyone's got a smartphone with them, take some photos. And that's really cheap and it doesn't cost any money, just costs a bit of time. Now, if you've been really, really injured and you can't do that, maybe you can get a loved one or a friend to do that. But those photographs are very important because the damage to your vehicle, the damage to the other person's vehicle, the scene of the accident will all change in time. And the thing about law is evidence gets lost, and it's important to preserve that evidence. Unfortunately, in today's society, everyone thinks that there's cameras everywhere. And sometimes there are cameras everywhere, but the reality is those cameras might not be working, might not be recording at that time, or might not be pointing in the right direction. So just because we think that there are cameras everywhere and we think those cameras are recording our every move doesn't necessarily mean that the cameras are going to be capturing the important evidence. And that's why it's up to you. The onus is always on the person to capture that evidence with his or her recording device.
What would you suggest to people who get into a situation? I've had it once many years ago where the person that we bumped together did not have car insurance or didn't have proof of that. What can you do then?
So that happens a lot. So get their license plate, get a photo of their ID, and go to your local collision reporting center or call the police because you just don't know what that person is up to. You don't know what they're doing. And sometimes it's honest. I had a situation where I was driving and my insurance, I didn't have the right slip on me. But the local collision center where I was in London, Ontario, they said, well, if you bring us your proper proof of insurance within 24 hours, we're not going to issue you a ticket because you know what? Mistakes do happen and you might have just an expired pink slip where the insurer sent you the right one. You just didn't flip it in your wallet or flip it in your glove box. And those things do happen and it's totally legitimate. But if you go back to the collision center and you send them the proper proof of insurance, you're going to be okay. But to tell you the truth, get a photograph of the person's driver's license. That'll be very helpful. Get a photograph of the license plate and report it. That's about all you can do.
We have over the years, we've got a great relationship with OPP Sergeant Kerry Schmidt. And he tells us many interesting stories about when he pulls people over after an accident. And, people it's a shocking situation. Your mind's not really thinking at that point. So usually when that happens, you try and pull your car over to the side as they try and do. And then the tow truck companies come on. So what's your legal standpoint when people say two trucks two tow trucks come to you. What do you legally have the right to do from a legal point of view?
Well, I think you hit it on the head, Steve, that people are in shock after an accident and the adrenaline's pumping. You're absolutely right about that. And you're also absolutely right that these tow trucks, they know when accidents happen, they know where they happen. And it might not just be two, it might be three, four, five, six. And sometimes it's warranted because it's a multi-car collision. And sometimes it's just silly because there's one vehicle, not much damage, and there's five tow truck drivers all around this poor driver who's in shock and confused and doesn't know what to do. And it's even worse when you're far from home and the tow to, home is very, very far, or you're in parts of the country that are very remote and your tow to your local service station, is very far away. My best advice there is just to take a pause, take a breath. You're legally allowed to go with any tow truck driver you want. You can go wherever you want. So what I recommend people do is if they have an auto club membership, you give the auto club a call and they'll send out a driver because you're not going to be charged rates that are through the roof, and you're not going to face a potential. I've heard all these horror stories about like impounding situations whereby they tow your car and they do the repairs and the repair bill comes out and the insurance company doesn't approve the repairs. And the insurance company will approve up to 1,000, but the shop has done 10,000 in repairs, and they're going to impound your car until you pay out of pocket the $9,000 difference.
Yeah, and sometimes we've had it where we had our car taken to the pound because it was almost a write-off, but to get the car out, they wanted like a big amount of money that my insurance company said, no, we'll get the police down there and they'll take care of all that. If you are injured in a car accident, what's the best thing you can do from a legal point of view?
The best thing you can do is document it by going to the hospital, emergency clinic, walk-in clinic, or seeing your family doctor right away. Too often people contact me and they're not getting proper medical attention. They tell me I've been hurt or injured in a serious accident.
Okay.
And they've done nothing about it. And legal cases like baking a cake. You can't bake a chocolate cake with just chocolate. And just chocolate is the person getting up on the stand saying, I'm injured. That's not enough. It needs to be documented with evidence. And that evidence is seeing your family doctor, going to the emergency clinic, going to the hospital, getting medical treatment. Without medical treatment, a court will not believe that you are injured. It's that simple.
All right. Listen, a pleasure having you on this show this morning, and we'll have you back again. If people want to find out more information about what they should be doing, what's your website there at your law firm?
Website's very easy. Visit goldfingerlaw.com, or you can reach me by email at Brian, BRIAN, at goldfingerlaw.com.
Great. Thanks, Brian. Have a great weekend. This is Dave's Corner Garage. We'll be right back.